The stars are right, and that means it's time for another episode of The Whisper in Darkness. Thank you very much for joining me today. I am your host, manfromleng. We are playing some Arkham Horror LCG today. Welcome, Arkham Horror LCG fans. Glad you could join me today. We are going to be playing some Wendy Adams, a Succeed by 2 deck using the Grizzly Totem in order to try to abuse Opportunist 2 and take heart. We are set up in Octagon. We will take a look at the deck first off. We have this is a deck based on JamJams32's deck over at Arkham DB called Wendy the Opportunist. We have it is a Succeed by 2 deck, so it has cards like Daring Maneuver in there, as well as Opportunist 2. It has 18 experience points, just under the 19 experience point threshold that we needed before we have to, up to 19 experience, we have to add 2 weaknesses to the deck. I would have liked to have gotten to exactly 19. Unfortunately, there are no other experience point cards that I can add to this deck without cracking 19 and having to add 3 weaknesses. This deck is going to try to use Grizzly Totem 3, the Survivor card that was released in For the Greater Good, to abuse Take Heart and Opportunist. Grizzly Totem 3's interaction with Take Heart is if you commit both, if you commit Take Heart and trigger the Grizzly Totem, when you fail the skill test, you get all the benefits of Take Heart, and you get to bring Take Heart back to your hand, so you can use it on another action and on a later round. Grizzly Totem 3's interaction with Opportunist 2 is Opportunist 2, you get to bring it back to your hand if you succeed by 2 or more. If you trigger Grizzly Totem 3, it gets an additional wild icon, and if you fail the skill test, you get to bring Opportunist 2 back to your hand anyway. So it's a win-win situation. You get it back in your hand either way. So we're going to see if we can't use that to our advantage. This deck is fairly heavy on evasion. We've got Pickpocketing 2, which gives us a card and or resources if we successfully evade. It's got Elusive to help us move around the board a little quicker. It's got Slip Away and Waylay, which will let us kill an enemy if we are able to evade it. We have JamJams32's deck didn't have any experience point cards in it, so I've upgraded the flashlights to lockpicks. It had just regular old vanilla Peter Sylvester, so we're packing Peter Sylvester 2. And I believe that's it for experience point cards, besides the Opportunist 2. He was using the regular Opportunist, which is actually a Succeed by 3, which is a little bit tougher to hit. We are set up here and ready to go in Octagon. I'm glad you could join me today. We are going to be playing the Pallid Mask. Friend of the channel, Tim Fiscus, mentioned this as one of his favorite scenarios for testing decks. So we are going to give this one a try. Hi, Ben. Welcome to the stream. Glad you could make it today. We've got... I haven't played the Pallid Mask in a little while, probably since Arkham Knights last year, so I may be a little rusty on this one. But we are set up in standalone mode. We, as part of that, we have to add either 2 cultists, 2 tablets, or 2 elder things to our deck. So I'm just going to pick a random number here between 1 and 3. We'll go cultist, tablets, elder things, and we get elder things. So that's what we are. That is what we are playing today. Yeah, we'll see. There's a lot of we'll see, Ben. There's a lot of enemies in this particular scenario, if I remember correctly. So this deck can evade. I'm pretty certain of that, but I'm not sure what it's. We may need to kill something, and we've only got 2 copies of Waylay, which could be a little bit tough, but we'll see. Maybe we can go fast enough that we can beat this before it gets before the weight of it all just crushes us. I've actually done pretty well against this scenario. I think I played it with basically a level 0 deck, and it did pretty well when this scenario initially came out. So I'm not overly concerned, but again, if we draw, there's lots of ghouls. There's those things that transform from the ghouls. There's the catacomb docents. And hey, Vase, how are you doing? Glad you could make it out today. Vase Odin being my compatriot over on the Great Old Ones Gaming Podcast. Glad you could make it. I have to add 2 weaknesses. So we've added the 2 tentacles to the deck. We've got to add 2 weaknesses. So let's see what those are going to be. We've got overzealous. Okay, well that's a pretty tough one. One of the worst weaknesses that we could have drawn. And we've got another enemy, the Silver Twilight Acolyte. Hi, Pluttercall. Glad you could make it. I have a couple of old Succeed by 2 decks over on Arkham DP. I don't generally post my decks over at Arkham DB. I will probably do that. Hi, Solar Jetman. Glad you could make it today. I'll probably start, now that I'm going to be streaming a little bit more often, I will probably post the decks over there so you can check them out. This particular deck is based on Gem32's Wendy Opportunist deck with a bunch of upgraded experience point cards in it. His was just a level 0 deck. This one has 18 experience points worth of cards in it. So we drew an Overzealous and the Silver Twilight Acolyte. That's not great. Definitely the Overzealous is bad news. And another enemy is not what we needed. All right. I think we're ready to go here. So I have triggered the forced effect on the Gate to Hell. We need a couple clues there. So let us draw our opening hand and see how we do. All right, we've got a Lockpicks. We've got a copy of Opportunist. We've got our Overzealous, so we need to redraw for that. We've got a Look What I Found. Okay. We've got an Opportunist, Pickpocketing, and a Live and Learn. Live and Learn is that it's very similar to Lucky, but this one you have to actually fail the skill test before you can play it. So we're obviously keeping the Lockpicks. We want to keep the Opportunist. Gate to Hell is only a 1-shroud location, so I don't think we need the Look What I Found. We're going to get rid of the Live and Learn as well. Pickpocketing, that's going to be card draw and resource generation, so we're going to keep that. So we'll get 2 cards. Another Look What I Found. That always happens to me. I don't know what it is. Every time I mulligan a card, I always seem to draw an exact copy of the card I got rid of. And a Lone Wolf. So, okay, we've got some... we've got quite a bit of... we've got some resource generation working for us. And we've got our Lockpicks. That's good. No Grizzly Totem, though, which is what we really want to see if we can really get this deck going. All right, let's get our 3 actions here for our first turn. I think our first action will be, we're going to play the Lockpicks, I think. And we'll get that down. And it has 3 supplies. So if we do not succeed by at least 2, we have to remove Lockpicks, a supply from the Lockpicks. We should have 1 more resource because those are only 3s. And I think we're going to play our Lone Wolf now. And then we will save the Pickpocketing for another turn. All right. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with how the hand worked out. Don't really need Look What I Found at the moment, but I mean that's one of the problems when you're trying to show off what a card can do. I often play these games trying to show off what a card like Grizzly Totem can do, and and then I never see it, and so it's like, well, it would work if I actually drew it. So hopefully we'll be able to actually do that today. We've got one action remaining. Let's do some investigation. We've got a 3 versus 1. We'll just go straight up here, and we get an Elder Sign. So that's +0, and if Wendy's Amulet's in play, we automatically succeed. Haven't played Wendy in quite a while. She was my backup investigator last year at Arkham Knights. Fortunately, I didn't have to play her because Finn did manage to get through the killer scenario there, that being the Unspeakable Oath. All of us brought backup investigators in case we didn't make it out of the Unspeakable Oath, and mine was going to be Wendy. Fortunately, we all made it through. Just noticed over on Twitter, I believe it was yesterday or the day before, that Arkham Knights 2019 will be at the Fantasy Flight Games Center in Roseville, Minnesota on October 11th through 13th. I am definitely planning to go. We have our team, we're getting the team back together, hopefully here, to tackle the Forgotten Age during the for the Iron Man that is put together by the crew over at Mythos Busters, and I'm looking forward to that. And if you are able to make it down to Arkham Knights this year, I would love to see you drop by, say hello, and hopefully we can get to sit down and play a game together. So that was the investigation phase. No enemies to worry about. We draw a Resourceful during the upkeep. So that's good. We've got a card that we can, if we need to use that Look What I Found, we can bring it back with Resourceful. So we'll go to our first Mythos phase. We have a Doom Threshold of 6, so that will be... yeah, I think to the Forgotten Age, we may need 1 or 2 backup investigators. There's a lot of ways that you can die in that one. I feel pretty good if we can get past the Doom of Estley, and then I think the next one would be Boundary Beyond, would be pretty tough. I'm not worried about Threads of Fate. Heart of the Elders, not too worried about. And then of course, the end scenarios, the Depths of Yoth. City of Archives will be interesting playing 4-player. I've only played it with 1, so... it'll be interesting to see what 4 Yithians wandering around will be like. We have to draw an encounter card, so let's see what we get. It is going to be the Eyes in the Walls. Test 3 willpower. For each point you fail by, take 1 horror. When assigning horror from this effect, it must be divided as evenly as possible among all eligible cards. All right, so we are just going to go... we don't have anything to add to that. So we're just going 4 versus 3. Chaos Bag gives us a -1, so we do succeed with that on that test. All right, good stuff. So it's the investigation phase. We will gain a resource from our from Lone Wolf. I will probably forget that multiple times during this scenario. Let's get our 3 actions. We will use our first action. We're going to get our pickpocketing down. And so that's fast. So we don't have to spend an action on that. That's a very nice upgrade for that card from regular pickpocketing. So after we evade an enemy, we can exhaust pickpocketing to draw a card or gain a resource. If we succeed by 2, we get both. So that would be awesome. We have 3 actions remaining. We don't have... we've pretty much played all the cards that we want to in our hand, so our first action will be to investigate. We're going 3 versus 1. Chaos Bag gives us a skull. That's -X, where X is the number of locations away from the starting location to a maximum of -5. That is bad news, but we are at the starting location, so we will just gain that clue. All right, well, we've cleared the gate to hell, so we can go either up or down as our move. And we will have to spend a clue, of course, to do it. So let's do that now, and we will move. Let's go up. So we move up to the Crypt of the Sepulchral Lamp. It's a 2-shroud location with 2 clues. The crypt is investigated using willpower instead of the skill indicated by the investigation attempt. When the crypt is revealed, put the top 2 catacomb cards into play above and to the right of the lamp. All right, so we need 2. We'll just shuffle these up again. So 1 above and 1 to the right. Yeah, that's a very nice location for Wendy. Ben. That will be. Investigating 4-2 is a lot better than 3, so that's a very nice pull for her. We might as well just keep investigating. We'll go 4 versus 2. Chaos Bag gives us a -3, so that will be a failure, unfortunately. Now we could... Oh, we've only got 1 resource, so we can't use our... Liquid Eye Found on that one, unfortunately. But maybe next time. So that was the investigation phase. No enemies to worry about. We draw, during upkeep, we draw Daring Maneuvers. That is fast, and when you, if you would succeed at a skill test, you get +2 skill value for the skill test. So we will succeed by 2 regardless of what we pull. Oh, you've never seen Wendy play, John? She is a lot of fun to play. I've played her quite a bit. Sergeant Mook over at the Mythos Busters Discord is a big fan of Wendy, and I've had a chance to play her on Expert even, and she can certainly hold her own if you've got the right build. She's got all the tools that she needs to succeed. So we need to draw an encounter card. It is going to be... There is our Catacombs Docent. Spawns at the nearest unrevealed location, so he will either go to this Catacombs location. So I guess we'll go to the right. Our plan is to go right. He's a 3/2/2, and we can parlay with him to look at the unrevealed side of any Catacombs location and play. Seems unlikely that we will be doing any of that. Yeah, Wendy is definitely the combo queen. She can... I mean, I've played her against... I think I have a recording on my channel of her playing extracurricular activity and taking down the experiment in one or 2 attacks. Yeah, if you get the right cards, she can be a monster. Let's get our Lone Wolf money. And our 3 actions, of course. And we need to get these clues, so we're just going to investigate. 4 versus 2, we get a 0, so we get 1 clue. Second action, we will do it again. Do we want to use... 4 versus 2 is fine, I think. We get -1, so yeah. We're not doing too badly in the investigation department. Especially when we can use... I don't even think we can use lockpicks here. I guess we just add our... so we'd be 8 versus 2. Yeah, well, that's a bit overkill. All right, we've got 1 action remaining. We might as well... Now, there are some bad locations in this, if I remember correctly. So I'm not sure if it's wise to move with 1 action, but we're going to do it anyway. So we'll take an action and move here, spending our clue. Shivering Pools is a 5-shroud location with 1 clue. At the end of your turn, Shivering Pools, you must either take 1 direct damage or lose 5 resources. Oh dear. Okay, so that's bad news. We are going to end our turn at Shivering Pools. What I was saying about locations with bad effects, and I happen to pull one. When Shivering Pools is revealed, put the topmost Catacombs card into play below or to the right. Okay, let's go to the right, I guess. Drop that in there. So we have to lose 5 resources, so we will lose the resources rather than take the damage this time. Alright, that's going to be the investigation phase. No enemies. There we draw Take Heart. Okay, well that's one part of the combo that we want to try to pull off at some point, but still no Grizzly Totem, so that will is what we're waiting for. So that will be the end of that turn. We are 3 of 6. Let's draw our encounter card, which is going to be a Ravenous Ghoul. So that is going to engage us. Ravenous Ghoul, 3 fight, 3 health, 3 evade. Humanoid monster ghoul, and his prey is the lowest remaining health. He hits you for 1 damage and 1 sanity. So that we will need to evade this chump and then get a move on to get away from him. Our evasion is 4 versus 3. So, yeah, we've got... I think we can probably do it. We've got our 3 actions. Let's get our money from Lone Wolf. We do have our pickpocketing. If we succeed, we can draw a card and gain a resource. So we're going to go 4 versus 3. Alright, we'll go 4 versus 3. I always forget about Wendy's special ability when we play her. We can discard a card to cancel the token and draw again. So we have to remind me of that. Because it is such a powerful ability. We're going 4 versus 3. Let's see what the Chaos Bag says. -2. So we're going to fail that. Do we discard a card? No, we'll just take that one. He doesn't have alert or anything like that, so that's not a big deal. We'll try it again. Chaos Bag gives us another -2. Okay, that's a little bit worse. At this point, if I want to stay and grab that clue, or I don't have to, I don't necessarily need that clue, I can just move away. I'm going to commit... yeah, I'll pitch that to redraw. Chaos Bag gives us a skull. That is going to be a -2 as well. Alright, so 2 failures. At this point, we're stuck. We're going to end up taking another... or we're going to lose all our resources, or we're going to take a damage. Alright, it's just, do I want to commit anything to it? That's the problem. 4 versus 3. What's the Chaos Bag like? Those are the skulls are -2s, and the Elder Things are -3. So the Chaos Bag is pretty rough at the moment. If I can't get to -2, it's probably not worth doing. I'm not going to commit anything to this evasion. I'll wait till next turn. Oh, we get a -1 this time, so he is evaded. I'll just keep him there. Yeah, John, this is an 18 experience point deck. It's got Grizzly Totem 3, couple copies of that. Peter Sylvester 2, Opportunist 2, and Pickpocketing 2 as well. So we're not going to take any damage from the ghoul. Now we're going to have to lose 5 resources or take a damage, so we'll lose the resources. And we will go to the enemy phase. No attack. There's Peter. Nice to see him. That will help us with some horror. If we can get him down, we need to get away from this ghoul before we can do anything else. We will add a Doom 4 of 6, and our encounter card is going to be another enemy. Oh, this could be trouble. All right, so we draw a Poltergeist 3/2/4, cannot be damaged except by spells, relics, or encounter cards. It's a 4. Wow, jeez, that's bad. That is rough, and we don't have anything to really help us out here. This could be a very short game here with 2 enemies that we can't, that are going to be very tough to get away from. 4 evade, man, that's rough. All right, 3 actions, but what we need now is an elusive in a bad way. Okay, so we have to... So what we could do... I can use Intellect, Ben, for evasion. Yeah, I could try to... It's 3 versus 3 to parlay with the Poltergeist. So... either way, it's going to be a tough to beat when we're already even. Intellect, we do have the Look What I Found that we could pitch. That would put us at that would give us 1 chance, but then we'd need to take it out again. We could go Resourceful, but we really need to be 2 up. We'd have to throw our Opportunist, I think. Well, we have to deal with these enemies, so we can't play for the future. We need to play with what we've got now. So we will try to parlay with the Poltergeist. We will go 5 versus 2, or 5 versus 3, sorry. So we need a 2. Chaos Bag gives us an Elder Sign. That's +0. So we do succeed. So we will deal a damage to the Poltergeist. Then we're going to have to commit our Opportunist and our Resourceful. No, Pluttercal, there are no weapons in this deck. There are 2 copies of Waylay, so we're hoping to get to those at some point. Again, 5 versus 3. Chaos Bag says -1. Okay, well, we've dealt with one of the enemies. We did not succeed by 2 or more, so we don't get our Opportunist back, unfortunately. That was 2 actions. Then we need to evade this Ravenous Ghoul. We're going 4 versus 3. Chaos Bag gives us a Skull. That's a failure. That's a -2. So we are going to take a damage and a horror during the enemy phase this turn. And we go to upkeep. Another copy of Peter Sylvester. No help there. We could use... And again, it's just a willpower icon too, so no good. 5 of 6 Doom. We are getting to the point where the big guy comes out. We will draw a Grasping Hands. Well, that's not too bad. Test 3 Agility. For each point you fail by, take 1 damage. Probably one of the easier encounter cards for us. 4 versus 3, although the Chaos Bag is pretty rough. That is going to be another skull. That's going to be a -2. So we are going to take a damage out of that. All right. Well, we've sort of gotten ourselves into a rut. I need to actually lose our resources for the Shining Pool. We gain 1, and then we will gain another. We gained 1 during the upkeep phase and 1 from Lone Wolf. Okay, we need to get away from this guy. We need to escape. Let's go 3 versus 1, or 4 versus 3. Chaos Bag gives us a -2. -2. Come on. Tentacle. Okay, well, let's... Actually, we need to I need to slow down here because Wendy can pitch a card. So after the first -2... I'm going too fast here. Let's go back. Need to step back. So after the first failure, we're going to redraw. So that would be a -2. We do it again. We drew the tentacle. So then we would, is it once per round? I think it's once per test. Okay, so we can't do it again. I guess we'll just do it again. -3. Man, this Chaos Bag is brutal. All right. Well, we take another damage in horror. This is rather ignominious here. Just dying to a ravenous ghoul at the Shining Pool. We lose our resources again at the end of our turn. We draw another Opportunist. And we add a Doom. So we go to 6. And the Spectre of Death comes out. Whoops. Spectre of Death is 3 fight, 5 health, 3 evade. Spawns at the starting location. He is Hunter and Retaliate. While he is exhausted, he takes 1 less damage, and after you fail a skill test while attempting to evade him, it attacks you. So this could be a very short game once we hit him. Okay. Yeah, this is very, this is not a good situation, and the Chaos Bag is probably, you really need to be at least -2, probably closer to -3 to be able to get to pass. And we simply don't have the cards to do that at the moment. We need to draw an encounter card, so this could get worse before it gets better. We are at Empire of the Dead Agenda 2A. And we will draw... There is the Corpse Dweller. Discard a humanoid enemy at any location and spawn the Corpse Dweller. Corpse Dweller instead gains, if there are no humanoid enemies, it gains Surge. It's a Hunter and Retaliate. So the Catacombs Docent goes away and the Corpse Dweller comes into play. So now we have 2 Hunters on the table in addition to the Ghoul. We simply were not fast enough, unfortunately. We are going to get jumped by everything in the catacombs. We do get our 3 actions. All right, we go for... Well, we've got to pitch our Opportunist here. We're going to go 5 versus 3. Chaos Bag gives us a skull, so that's a -2, so we do pass. So we do evade this guy. We also get to trigger our... We actually should get our Lone Wolf money before we forget. Pickpocketing. After you evade an enemy, exhaust it to draw a card or gain a resource. We need the cards. There's an elusive. That's a little too late, unfortunately. So he is there. We need to get a move on. So we are going to spend one of our clues to leave the Shining Pool. We end up at the Labyrinth of Bones. 2 shroud location with 2 clues. When Labyrinth of Bones is revealed, put the top 3 catacombs in the catacomb deck into play above, below, and to the right. Okay. Above, below, and to the right. All right. Why do I think I haven't set this deck up properly? Just need to check something here. Set them aside. Okay, so we need, yeah, we didn't set the deck up properly, but that's okay. We can, we have 3 catacombs locations left, so we're not, we didn't too late. We need to shuffle those in. I figured I'd done something wrong there. All right, so we've set the game up properly this time. We have the locations we need in the deck. We've got 1 action remaining. Let's try to grab a clue here. We will use our lock picks. We will go 7 versus 2. Chaos Bag says 0. Where were those zeros earlier? We did succeed by 2, so we do not have to spend a clue. Or a supply, sorry. Okay, we've got a lot of bad stuff coming our way during the enemy phase. The Corpse Dweller moves, and the Shadow or the Spectre of Death moves. We've got Wendy's Amulet we drew during the upkeep phase. And that's going to be that. So we add a Doom. We draw another enemy. The Poltergeist is back for revenge. Okay, that's not good. Okay, so we need... So we're going to have to either parlay with him twice or evade him once, which is... We've got Wendy's Amulet, so maybe evasion is the way to go. We can get another card with pickpocketing and then just keep moving away from these guys. So let's commit Wendy's Amulet. We're going 6 versus 4. Chaos Bag says -2. Okay, so we managed to evade the Poltergeist. You know, even if we find the Tomb or the Man in the Pallid Mask, we have so many enemies to go back through. This is going to be brutal. We do get to exhaust our pickpocketing. I should remember to take our Lone Wolf money. We will get a card with pickpocketing. There's the Grisly Totem. Better late than never. We need to move away so we can spend another clue to move to this location. This is the Stone Archways, 2 shroud location, 0 clues. Ignore the text on unrevealed locations adjacent to the Stone Archway. When it is revealed, put the topmost catacombs in the catacomb deck into play to the right. So that actually helps us quite a bit. We can get away from... We can get away from everybody here. So that was our... We evaded. We moved. We get to move to this location without having to spend a clue. Or do we play something? We need the totem down because it's going to add skill icons, and we need skill icons right now to pass these tests. We'll spend 2 clues to play the grizzly totem. All right. That is going to be our investigation phase. Enemy phase. We've got the corpse dweller and the specter of death show up or keep moving. We need to get away from them, or it's going to be a very short game indeed. If we could actually, we do have an elusive, so we can move to a revealed location. So if it's, I think you have to, if we draw the right, I'm not sure how the ending works exactly, but if we need to go back to the gate to hell, we can get there easily enough. Okay, so they moved. We go to upkeep. There is our weakness. Abandoned and alone. So we take 2 direct horror. And we remove all cards in our discard pile from the game. All right. We knew that was coming at some point, so we don't have to worry too much about that. We will go to the next Mythos phase. 2 out of 12. Our encounter card is going to be another ghoul. This is just a vanilla ghoul. Good old ghoul minion, 2/2/2. Just does a damage and a horror. We need our money. Hi, Crazy Gamer. Welcome to the stream. We are playing Wendy Adams using Grizzly Totem 3 to try to play Opportunist and or Take Heart. So far, Wendy's getting pummeled by enemies galore. We've drawn mostly enemies all game, and we really got stuck here at the Shining Pool earlier. Hi, Amelia. Welcome to the stream. Glad you could join us. We are playing Wendy Adams during the Pallid Mask, and she's being swarmed by enemies. We just started our investigation phase. We've got a ghoul minion to deal with. He's easier to evade than all the others, and so we're going to go 4 versus 2. Chaos Bag says -1. So that is good for us. Did I take a resource for... No, I didn't. I need to take a resource for Lone Wolf before I forget. All right, so we get another card with pickpocketing. There's a look what I found. This guy is evaded. Drop him up there. Let's move here. That was our first action. Did we succeed by 2 there? No, we did not. Came close, but we did not. All right, we're going to spend our last clue to move to this location. The Tomb of Shadows. We found it. Wow, look at that. Tomb of Shadows, 4 shroud location. When Tomb of Shadows is revealed, advance to... Crazy Gamer, this is not a level 0 deck. This is a 18 experience point deck. 2 copies of Grizzly Totem, 2 copies of Opportunist 2, 2 copies of Peter Sylvester, 2 copies of Pickpocketing, I believe. That should be about all the upgrades I've added. Lockpicks as well, that's the other one. 2 copies of Lockpicks. So, while the man in the Pallid Mask... Alright, take care, Ben. We will, I think... We found the man in the Pallid Mask, so we get to advance. While the man in the pallid mask is at the Tomb of Shadows, he gets +1 health and cannot be defeated by his ability. Alright, so we advance. Let me see here. When Tomb of Shadows is revealed, advance to Act 1B. Okay, so we do that. Act 1B is the Stranger's Shadow. We spawn the set-aside man in the pallid mask weakness in the Tomb of Shadows instead of its normal spawn location. We check the campaign log. If Ishimara Haruko is not listed under VIP Slain, we search the collection for her and spawn her at the starting location. She is not, so we need to spawn her. I will need to create a card for her. There she is. I think if we create, this should flip. Okay, we don't have the we don't have her enemy card, it would seem, so we will have to we'll just pretend. She's bad news. If she catches us, we're pretty much dead, so yeah, I'm wondering why it doesn't have that. All right, well. Okay, so yeah, I actually enjoy playing one-offs quite a bit, especially if I'm just deck testing. I like playing them. I'll play them repeatedly. So this, we'll just pretend that this Ishimaru is the enemy, and she will probably kill us if she catches us. So we need to, we've put her into play. Okay, so we advance to Act 2A. So our objective is, tell us how to stop the path from opening. If the man in the pallid mask is defeated, we advance. Or we say, what is he trying to show us? Investigators in the Tomb of Shadows may spend the requisite number of clues as a group to advance. We need 2 clues, and we have no clues, so we're going to need these clues. This deck is a Wendy Adams deck that is based on a deck by JamJams32 over at Arkham DB. It is intended to use Grizzly Totem 3, the Survivor card that was released in For the Greater Good, to abuse either Take Heart, because if you play Take Heart and trigger the totem, you can take Heart back to your hand, or Opportunist level 2, or the base level if you want, but the level 2 Opportunist is much better. And if you trigger the Grizzly Totem when you play Opportunist, you can, whether you succeed by 2 or fail, you get to take the card back to your hand. So you should always have an Opportunist in hand. Unfortunately, I had to discard both of my Opportunists to get away from some of these enemies that are in our location. Now, fortunately, we have 1 action remaining, and we've got a Look What I Found. So we have a way to grab these 2 clues and advance if necessary. Oh, I'm glad you enjoy the streaming. Yeah, I enjoy the streaming quite a bit. It's fun to play with you guys and girls, and get to talk to people from the community a little bit more. Yeah, I would love to be able to do more in the Know series, Crazy Gamer. They do take a fair amount of time to put together, unfortunately. I do have a couple in the works. One about triggered abilities is one, and the other I'd like to do is just about the word escapes me here. I will remember it shortly. Diminishing returns. That's what I'd like to do it on, just so for beginning players who may not understand sort of the idea behind committing cards. Like once you reach, if you're just playing a basic standard deck, once you hit 2 above, you're pretty much you're pretty good. Going 3 or 4 is not always necessary. So we do have 1 action remaining. We can grab these 2 clues and advance using what is he trying to show us. So let's investigate. We are going 3 versus 4. So we are going to just try to... We need to fail by 2 or less. We get a skull. Oh, that's going to be a -5. That's not going to work. I'm going to throw my Take Heart to redraw that. We get a -1. Hey, that's what we needed. So we will fail by 2, but we have our Look What I Found. So we will throw that and gain 2 clues. Joe Diamond, he is a very powerful investigator. I haven't built that many Joe Diamond decks. When I built him, I just built him basically like a Roland Banks deck. You can basically build the same deck out of Roland Banks or Joe Diamond, and then the only difference between them is their upgrade paths, because Joe can take cards that Roland cannot. My problem playing Joe Diamond is that I always forget to draw a card from his hunch deck, and so I'll play several turns and then realize, oh, I've just forgotten sort of his main mechanic, which isn't good. And it's probably one of the reasons that I probably won't play Joe Diamond on stream, because he is so tricky. I always forget his hunch deck. All right. So we've got the clues we need, so we can advance. Let's do that now. Now, if this is the one where we need to escape through the gate to hell, I think we actually may make it out. That would be sweet. All right, Act 2B, Behind the Mask. If you spent clues to advance, we mark 2 doubt in the campaign. Not a big deal in a one-shot. We remove the man in the pallid mask from the game, and then we advance to Act 3A, Leading the Way. Act 3A, Leading the Way. Ignore the forced ability on blocked passage if each undefeated investigator is at blocked passage. Oh, this is the blocked passage one. Oh, this is bad. This is bad news. Yeah, we'll have to find the blocked passage. The blocked passage is in one of these 4 catacomb cards, and how are we going to do that? I think what we need to do, if we're going to get there, we need to pull all these enemies. We've got Ishimaru, we've got the Corpse Dweller, we've got the Spectre of Death, all hunting us down. We need to pull them a little further, say until they get to the stone archway, and then we will use our elusive to teleport ourselves to the gate to hell. But we need... we can't do that. We need a clue. Shoot. Are there any clues? Yeah, the only clues are on the table are with enemies. We'd have to go to the Shining Pool and see our friend, this Ravenous Ghoul, again. Oh, we can't. We need to... Elusive is no enemies. Oh, damn. This is going to be bad. We needed a clue somewhere. Huh. All right, this is going to be rough. This is going to be rough. Okay, so that was the investigation phase. Enemy phase. The Corpse Dweller and the Spectre of Death move. We go to upkeep and we draw a slip away. Yeah, City of Archives can be a tough one. I've played that a few times, Amelia, and I find that one fairly straightforward at the beginning, and then all of a sudden, when you get to the end, it becomes very tricky to navigate, trying to make sure that you've got enough to get through that last to advance the act with a limited number of cards in your deck. I've only played it solo, though. I haven't played it multiplayer. So yeah, I find it can be very tricky, especially once you get. I was playing it with Ursula, and I couldn't kill enemies, so I had to be very sneaky about the whole thing. What does Slip Away do again? We add intellect to evasion. If we succeed by 2, doesn't ready. Okay. Yeah, Pluttercal, the ending was nerve-wracking. It's hard to play those games, to record those types of games, because I'm trying to be engaging with the audience, but at the same time, it requires so much concentration in order to focus on what is going on, so I don't end up losing the game. We are going to Mythos. 3 out of 12. We will draw a card. There is another Corpse Dweller. So at any location, we can spawn the Corpse Dweller if there are no humanoid. Okay, actually, this might actually help us. This Corpse Dweller might just save our bacon. Because what we can do, we can get rid of this ghoul at the Shining Pool, and the Corpse Dweller will go there. So when the Corpse Dweller moves, so all the enemies are going to move over here to the stone archways. Then we elusive over to Shivering Pools. Hello. Thanks for joining the stream. I don't know how to pronounce your name. Papo? I'm sorry if I'm butchering that. It has I think it's a Cyrillic letter in the name, which I'm not sure how to pronounce that. But welcome to the stream. Glad you could join us. We are playing the Pallid Mask with Wendy Adams. We have seems like 1,000 enemies on the table, and we just drew another one. But that may actually help us in the end, because we need to get a clue, and this guy's going to run. So we are during the investigation phase. I will gain a resource for Lone Wolf. I am going to... Actually, this is nice, because we can pull... Vase, is there an action... I can't remember the action windows during the enemy phase. Is there an action window after the hunter's move? Because if there is, I'll play my elusive. Is elusive only my... Oh, it's only my turn. Never mind. I was hoping to pull the enemies over and then move, but we'll just have to do it the old-fashioned way. Okay. So I'm just going to draw 3 cards, I think. Because we need these enemies to move one more time. So we'll just draw 3 cards. There's a lucky. There is our weakness. So we get this Silver Twilight Acolyte. Bearer prey only. After Silver Twilight Acolyte attacks, we place a doom on the agenda. We're going to have to evade this guy. So we're going 4 versus 3. No, I answered my own question, Vase. I thought I could play elusive during the enemy phase, but you can't do that because it's only your turn. But it's fine. I'm going to play it next turn anyway to teleport myself over here to the Shivering Pools once this Corpse Dweller moves. We're going to grab this clue, and then we're going to head down here to Oh, you got a fan. You got a fan vase. Well, thank you very much. I'm rooting for Wendy too, Pluttercal. I hope we're able to pull this off. It's going to be tough. I think if we can get away from this batch of enemies and get over to this catacombs location, we may actually have a chance, depending on what happens with the catacombs deck. I was going to draw 3 cards, but we do need to evade this Silver Twilight Acolyte. So we will do that. We're going 4 versus 3. Chaos Bag says -2. Do I care about taking a damage from this guy? Not really. He's going to add a Doom. No, we got plenty of Doom. We will... so we will miss that one, but we will take... we are going to take a damage during the enemy phase. And he is going to add a Doom. Place 1 Doom on the current agenda. Okay. Alright, enemies move the Spectre of Death, the Corpse Dweller, and this Corpse Dweller all move. We have... How many enemies do we have on? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 enemies on the board. Oh, and she has to move. She would have moved last turn. And this turn... Ah, shoot. She's right where I don't need her. Oh, that just... Yeah, I forgot that Ishimaru is also a hunter and that she is going to move to this Shivering Pools blocking us. I have to look up what she does here quickly. Just to find out what the bad version of Ishimaru does. Skin and Bones. 643. She is a hunter. Okay. So yeah, she moves into the Shivering Pools, which is where we were going to go. They didn't move quite far enough, though. Where do we get a clue from, though? We can't stay here, that's for sure. We need to draw an encounter card. Are you going to give me another enemy? No, the pit below. Yeah, we're definitely leaving. Attach pit below to your location. Attached location gets +1 shroud at the end of the round. Each investigator at attached location takes 3 damage. Okay, we're going to gain our lone wolf bucks. We are going to... Okay, we need a clue somewhere to get to this location. The only clue that's easily accessible is this one at the Shivering Pools. We'd have to... Well, yeah, I've got elusive in my hand, so I'm when you've got elusive in your hand, you don't have to be too worried about enemies. And this, the thing about the Pallid Masks is that the board tends to be quite large. So when the board is this big, if you can move around quite a bit, it's like these hunters are like obviously taking 2 damage and a horror, taking 2 damage and 2 horror. That's all really bad if they catch you, but I've got enough to get away from them. Yeah, that's why elusive got nerfed in the FAQ if you play that way. So we're going to have to play... Thankfully, elusive is fast. So we will play that. So we will go... We have to go here. So we leave all the enemies behind. And the pit. we need to move. We'd still take 2 damage. Is she elite? That's a good question. For slip away, she is elite. Okay. So if we move, how much would we take? We may have to take an attack of opportunity here. She only hits, Ishimar only hits for a damage and a horror. So if we move, investigate, we take a damage and a horror. Yeah, we still can't get away. That's the problem. We take another damage and a horror, and that would be game. Yeah, I think we are not going to be able to do this because we have simply too many. The problem is we only have 3 actions and we need to move, grab this clue, and move back, but we can't. Actually, we could. No, we can't. We'd have to take 3 attacks of opportunity. Move, grab a clue, move away. We take 3 attacks, we lose. Yeah, the problem is this spanner is that this guy here is coming. Next turn, evade, evade, move. Yeah, it's possible. Yeah, that's probably the only play. This guy's going to move in. We're going to take 2 damage and a horror, and then we'd have to double evade. And yeah, that's our only play, I think. You're right. All right, so we move in. We evade. So she's a 3. Okay, so we're 4 versus 3. We want to. I think we'll save that. 4 versus 3. Chaos Bag gives us a -3. That's. What happens there? Discard pile for a ghoul and draw it. So we were 4 versus 3. -3 drops us to 1, but we can play our lucky to give us +2, so we will succeed. Now we need to investigate. We will use our lock picks to go 7 versus 5. Chaos Bag says 0, so we grab that. And that'll be our turn. Okay, so we grabbed the clue we needed. We do get to trigger pickpocketing because we did succeed. So we can draw a card. There's a waylay. That works against non-elite enemies, but so we're just going to use it for the 2 agility skill icons next turn. So we go to the enemy phase. This guy moves in, so we're engaged with both of these. We take 2 damage and a horror. These 2 move over. I have to lose all my resources or take a damage, is it, at the Shivering Pools? Yeah. So we lose our resources instead of taking the damage. All right. Quick thinking. Immediately take an action. That would be... no, Leo is good in Wendy too. It depends on what you're trying to do. If you're trying to play a combo build, Leo is sometimes better because you need that extra action in order to pull off your combos. But Peter is good as well. In this deck, I don't know. It's hard to say. Peter gives us the +1 agility, which would really come in handy here. We are going to... so that was upkeep. We drew a quick thinking, which is good. We should have one resource. We are going to go to the Mythos phase. We are at 5 of 12. We draw another Eyes in the Wall. Test 3 willpower. For each point we fail by, we take a horror. So we can only afford to fail by 1, or we lose. Okay, so 4 versus 3. Oh yeah, he's a hunter too, and this thing goes away. Forgot about that Silver Twilight dude. I think... yeah, he's not going to be a contender right at this time. He may be a location behind where he needs to be, but that's all right. Okay, so we need to pass 4 versus 3. We could commit Peter, or we could use him to redraw. It's a tough choice. 4 versus 3. Skull is a -2. So we would fail by 1. Yes, Hassel Naterna. There are many, many bad people chasing Wendy through this, through the catacombs at the moment. So we are -1, so we will take a horror. Okay, now we need to escape. We will go... This guy's non-elite, right? Yes. We need to get our lost Lone Wolf money because we're going to play Slip Away for our first evasion attempt versus the Corpse Dweller. So we get to add our intellect to our... intellect to... our agility, so we're at 7 versus 4. 7 versus 4. Chaos Bag says +1. Okay. So he is evaded, and because he's non-elite and we succeeded by 2, he does not ready during the upkeep, during the untap phase. So he is there. We get to trigger pickpocketing to draw a card. You just spend these bucks. Okay, so that's good. Now Ishimaru has a 3, I believe. Yes, she does. She's a 3. Let's go... that, and I could add 1 with the Grizzly Totem, which would put us at 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 versus 3. Chaos Bag says -3. Okay, good. So we succeed there. She is evaded. We have one action remaining. We move away. Okay. So we go to the enemy phase. This guy moves. This guy moves. This guy moves. That's that. Upkeep. This guy does not ready because we played Slip Away. Boy, I hope that blocked passage is like the first card we find. Because we have too many people chasing us. Way too many people. I don't think I've ever had this many enemies on the table at one time. Oh, we got our resourceful back during upkeep. What do we have in here that we want? There's lucky. There's look what I found. Might be important. So a lucky or look what I found might be good. Okay, so that's that. We go 6 out of 12, and we draw Crypt Chill. Okay. Test 4, we have to discard an asset. That's not terrible. I guess we'd have to lose the Lone Wolf, but that's all right. So we're 4 versus 4. Not liking the looks of this one, but hey, we'll see. Ah, the Chaos Bag shines on us. We get a +0. So we pass that. Skill test, fortunately. All right, so far so good. Yeah, I think, who was it who suggested that plan of action? They deserve kudos. I believe it was Spanner. I need to do this. Yes, Spanner 1971B came up with the winning plan here to get us out of this mess. We will go, we get our 3 actions. We will move. Spend a clue to move. And we flip. We are in the Candlelit Tunnels. 3 shroud location, 2 clues. Action, test 3 intellect to read an ancient sign. If you succeed, look at the unrevealed side of any catacombs location in play. When Candlelit Tunnels is revealed, put the top 2 catacombs in the catacombs deck into play to the left and right. So we may be able to get out of this. There is a chance. There is a chance, albeit slim, that we can get out of this. We have 1, 2, 3. So we've got 3 turns before the whole... Yes, that is a fantastic location because we can look to see at which location we need to go to. We need some clues, though, if we're going to get there. So let's use let's investigate. I'm really hoping one of these is the blocked passage. So we'll have to use probably 2 actions to check. I need to take my Lone Wolf money. I knew I was going to forget that all game. We're going to investigate. We'll use our lock picks to go 7 versus 3. Chaos Bag says -3, so that is a 4. So we succeed, but we did not succeed by 2, so we lose a pick. But we do get a clue. That will be our turn. Investigation enemy. Here they come. He is there. He is there. So the Corpse Dweller and the Spectre move. The Silver Twilight Acolyte moves. This guy, Ishimaru, moves. Wow, that's going to be... how much do we lose? 2, 4... 5 health and 1, 2, 3, 4 sanity. 5 health and 4 sanity if this bunch of enemies drops on us. So that'll be definitely game. This guy doesn't matter anymore. This guy doesn't matter. He is going to untap during the upkeep phase. We draw another copy of Elusive. I don't even think Dynamite takes them out. How much damage does Dynamite do? Is it 5? Wendy can't play Dynamite, but it would be awesome in this case. It would do quite a bit of damage. I'm not sure if it would kill enough of them, though. I'm just going to check quickly. Dynamite deals 3 damage, so it wouldn't be quite enough. Yeah, it's not quite a... It would hurt all these, but it's not going to kill them. So we drew another Elusive. That's okay. We're going to need to pass this skill test on the Candlelit Tunnels to look at the unrevealed side. Let's go to the Mythos phase. 7 out of 12. And we will draw a card. Grasping Hands. Test 3 agility. For each point we fail by, we take a damage. We cannot afford to fail this. We will spend the Lone Wolf. Now, is it better? We could commit 4 versus 3, 5 versus 4, 5 versus 3. 6 versus 3. Because we want our lucky back so we can use it on this test. 6 versus 3 should be enough. Get a -1 and we get a card back. We grab our lucky. Okay. So what we can do now... So we passed that. I had Crazy Gamer. I had an amazing game with Zoe playing this solo during Pallid Mask. She didn't have to face this many enemies, granted, but yeah, it went down to the final action of the final turn. It was an incredible game. One of the best games I've ever played. So I think what we do here is we commit our quick thinking. We're going to take this action on the Candlelit Tunnels to look at this location. We're going to commit our quick thinking. We're going to use the Grizzly Totem to give it a wild skill icon. So we're going to go 5 versus 3. We've also got a lucky if we need it. So let's see what the Chaos Bag says. Oh, for Pete's sakes! Oh, I knew that was going to happen. Let's redraw that. No tentacle. No, that is not happening. -1. Thank you. Wendy just earned her keep right there. That is why you play Wendy. So you can just say, to hell with the tentacle. Okay, so we actually get an extra action this turn. Did we succeed by 2 or more? That's the question. We did not. That's okay. We get to look at this location. It is the blocked passage. Hey. So can we just win this? If each undefeated investigator... Ignore forced ability on blocked passage. If each undefeated investigator is at blocked passage, resign. So we spend an action. We move to blocked passage. Spend a clue. We flip that over. We are at the blocked passage. When you reveal blocked passage, take 2 damage, but we ignore that due to the action on leading the way. And if each undefeated investigator is at blocked passage, we advance. And that's a victory. That is a win for us. Big thanks to Spanner's 1971B for that plan there that got us through the shivering pools. And that was the trick right there. We got our clue at the shivering pools, and that got us to the candlelit tunnels. And once we were at the candlelit tunnels, we just needed to use that action to peek. And once we peeked, we found the blocked passage on our first peek, and we advance. And that is game. R2. Thank you very much, everyone, for your help on that one. There was, that was a brutal start. I didn't, with all those enemies on the table, I did not think we were going to be able to pull that out. Yeah, that repulling the auto fail, that was pretty important too. Thanks, Face. Yeah, the Plutter Cow being able to redraw that tentacle. Now, I think you probably see there seems to be a trend in my games where I will get to the very end, and that's when I draw the tentacle on the very, the penultimate action of the game when I need to, when I just need to draw anything but a tentacle. I will always draw the Hassel Nocturna. I didn't really get to use the Grizzly Totem all that much this game. I'd say it played almost no role. Like, I think I used it once to gain me I think I used it once. I never used it with Opportunist. I never used it with Take Heart. I mean, Take Heart is nice. The problem with Take Heart is that you've got to fail an action, and that does set your tempo back. So if you're losing tempo, you're not going to be... Like, I don't think I could burn an action here at any point toward the end of this game. I just can't fail an action. It's just not an option. I need to be able to... to succeed on all of my actions. So just failing an action is not going to be to help me out a great deal. But that was a rough start with that stupid Ravenous Ghoul. I thought we were going to be okay there once we got to the Tomb of Shadows, and then all the enemies started to move toward us, and we could pop over to the Shining Pool. Unfortunately, Ishimaru is also a hunter and blocked us from that. But Spanner 1971B came up with the winning play there to move in, evade, investigate, and then double evade move the following turn. I think one of the most important lessons in this type of game, Crazy Gamer, is just don't give up, because you never know. I've had games where it seems like all is lost, and time and time again I've been able to come back from those losing positions and be able to pull it out of the fire. Not always. Sometimes, a defeat is a defeat, and there's nothing you can do about it. But there are times when you can, the Chaos Bag will shine on you, and you'll be able to get those actions in, and suddenly the game will turn around. I remember playing a game with Agnes Baker where I had an absolutely dreadful start during Curtain Call. I think I drew pretty much every bad card you could draw to start that one off, and just because of Agnes's ability to inflict that damage on enemies, she was able to get out of it and go on to a victory. So never give up. It is about 11:32 here. Probably I was going to stream for about 2 hours. Probably not enough time to get another game in today. But if anyone in the chat has any questions you'd like to ask or anything like that, I would be happy to answer them. Yeah, Spanner, I think to me it was sort of the other way around. I like Grizzly Totem the Survivor version of Grizzly Totem more than the Seeker version. The Seeker one I think goes mostly in Min, although I would like to try it in Joe Diamond as well. And sort of underwhelming. I haven't played very much Min Tefan recently, and the last time that I saw her played was at an Arkham Knights event, or not an Arkham Knights event, an Invocation event, and we were in multiplayer where she's obviously a little bit more impactful. But even in that game, she sort of struggled. I think in that game, it was more of a case that she, in our Invocation event, Min drew the King in Yellow like turn 3 or something like that, and it just locked her down. And she really struggled to get out from underneath the King in Yellow, which, having played Min and having drawn the King in Yellow, it is a brutal weakness. I am planning to live stream Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays for the time being. If I've got the time. Right now it's summertime, so I have a little bit more flexibility. So I'm planning to stream Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays for about 2 hours, so you can drop by and get your Arkham horror fix. During my earlier playthroughs, I had playing 2 characters. Do I prefer playing solo instead of two-handed? That's a good question. I haven't played two-handed in a long time. I think one of the reasons I stopped playing two-handed was that I found it that I really played suboptimally. It can be very difficult to play one character, much less one investigator well, much less 2 investigators. And I found during those playthroughs, like, there were just mistakes I was making, or plays that I was missing because I was trying to bounce back and forth between the 2 characters. In my earlier playthroughs, I was playing Jenny and Skids, which are probably not the ideal combination. Not quite enough investigate intellect between the 2 of them. And this was before Lockpicks was released, so rogues didn't have the tools that they have at their disposal right now in order to gather clues, and they really struggled. They were very slow, and if anybody would be interested in seeing me play two-handed, I can certainly do that on the stream. It's a little more challenging. I can't imagine trying to play this particular scenario two-handed, trying to mesh the 2 investigators. But if you have 2 investigators in mind, just drop me a line in the chat and let me know. I will be announcing the streams on the Arkham Horror LCG Facebook page, as well as my own Facebook page. I've started one at the Whisper in Darkness channel. Make sure you go over there and like the page so that you receive notifications when I update that. I'm streaming on YouTube, Twitch, as well as Mixer, so you can choose the platform of your choice. The extra challenge it can bring by being true solo is pretty interesting to watch, since I usually play multiplayer. Yeah, solo is... I've played most of my games recently. I've played them solo. The only time I really play multiplayer, I played at an Invocation event. I played multiplayer, obviously, at Arkham Knights when we did the Iron Man through the Path to Carcosa. But solo can be tough. I mean, there have been games where it's just, you just get ground out very quickly. There was one in Black Star's Rise where I died within like 2 turns just because I drew the wrong cards. And But for the most part, I mean, I think it depends. Like some people find true solo, it's just not interesting to them. They prefer the multiplayer. Other people prefer. Other people enjoy playing. I'll post a link to the page in the chat there for you, so you can head over there. Yeah, some people enjoy True Solo. I play mostly True Solo, and I checked my game total the other day, and I'm up to over 490. So I think this is the 492nd game that I've played. Hoping to crack 500 here probably this month if I'm playing regularly. I usually try to play every couple days. It also depends what scenario I'm playing. If I'm playing something like Return to the Night of the Gathering, I'll just bang off 2 or 3 games in a night and not worry about it. But I do enjoy multiplayer as well. I think it really just depends on the type of deck you like to build. With solo, you have to build your decks in a particular way. I think it's gotten a little bit easier now that the card pool has expanded, that you're able to, you have a few more choices. It's not like you have to just put in flashlight and perception like you used to, which were, every solo deck I built, it was like 2 copies of flashlight, 2 copies of perception, just so you had enough intellect icons and intellect in order to investigate. Like rogues now have a lot more tools at their disposal. Mystics have more tools, so you're not building the same deck. But if you are playing, so you do need to be able to do everything well. So you need to be able to investigate. You do need some combat. If you're playing an evasion game like I was here, so you need like investigate evasion or investigate combat and do both of those things well. So you can't build a deck, say like Mark Harrigan, where all you want to do is just kill enemies. You do need to actually be able to pull off an investigate check here and there. But I do find those, playing those types of investigators like Mark Harrigan or Zoe Samras, who aren't necessarily superstars in the intellect department, those games can be a lot more fun to me than, say, playing an investigator with 5 intellect like Norman Withers, where you can race scenarios so quickly that you don't really need your deck to do anything else. His 5 intellect is so powerful that you can just finish scenarios in before they really get a chance to shine. Like I said, I've had some extremely fun games just playing Zoe Samras solo. You've got just enough intellect that you can scrape by. Yeah, the deck building definitely changes depending on the player count. I know when I hadn't really played a lot of multiplayer before I went to Arkham Knights last year, and so building a deck for that was an interesting experiment. Yes, you do end up with less XP playing evasion, and I wish that's something that the designers would rectify. And this has been a problem since the beginning of the game. There was a deck posted on Arkham DB back in the Dunwich Legacy days. You can do a total stealth run through the Dunwich Legacy, barring the undimensioned and unseen, where you need to deal with the horrors in that one. You can do a complete stealth run and not kill an enemy. The problem is, enemies are often worth victory points while stealth is not, and I wish that they would come up with some sort of reward system for playing evasion based builds, because I know that personally I grew up playing Call of Cthulhu, where if you fight enemies, you're losing. because you will die. The enemies are just so much more powerful than any of the investigators in Call of Cthulhu that once you fight an enemy, you are going to die. And so I like the idea of being able to play a total stealth game. And I have built some stealth decks. I played one out of, I believe around the Dunwich Legacy, I was trying one out of Rex Murphy. You can do it out of Wendy. I believe the one, the Dunwich Legacy one was built out of, the guy built it out of Jenny. And so it's certainly possible to do it. I'm not sure if you could do it in any other campaigns as well. I haven't given that a try. But I would like to see some sort of rewards. Thank you, Amelia. That was a very good game. Very tense, right up till the end there. It's always nice when it's not a cakewalk. I know I've played some games where it's just like, yeah, this game is over before it began. So, if there are any investigators that you would like to see played on stream, or decks that you see over that you've built yourself, or that you've seen over at Arkham DB, make sure you drop me a line on my Facebook page that I linked there in the chat. Let me know what you'd like to see, and I will be more than happy to play it for you. It's always nice to see a variety of decks. I think I'm probably going to stick to just playing. I'm not going to play campaigns in live streaming, just because it doesn't give you as much of a chance to experiment. Yes, it is definitely Vase. It's much better when it's when there's a challenge versus a walk in the park. I know when I've played Essex County Express a few times, even with Wendy, I had one of my best runs through at the Essex County Express with Wendy, where I was basically at the engine car before we had, like, I think I'd lost one of the train cars, and the game was already over because I just got lucky and I was able to investigate well and grab all the clues I needed. But yeah, I don't know what I'm going to play on Monday's stream. I think I might, I'm thinking I might experiment with drawing thin and Grizzly Totem to see if that is worth anything. After I did my review of the cards in For the Greater Good, somebody did post in the comments that they had played the Grizzly Totem drawing thin combination, and it hadn't worked out as well, which is good news. I mean, because if it does, if you can get that off the ground and going, you can generate piles and piles of resources and cards. And so I may give that a try. There are a bunch of investigators I haven't played a lot of lately, and I would like to take them for a spin. I haven't played Mark Harrigan solo in a long time, and I would like to play him. Zoe, of course, is always fun. I haven't played Carolyn. I know Carolyn is one of Vase's favorite investigators, and I haven't played her yet, so she might make a very good, an enjoyable game. I'm still enjoying playing Marie. I would like to experiment with Father Mateo again. I played probably 24 games with him through the Forgotten Age, trying to find a build that I liked, and just couldn't beat the scenarios consistently enough. But the Mystics have received so many new cards in this cycle, notably Sixth Sense and Wither and Sign Magic, and some of those good cards like Deny Existence is amazing. So being able to play with some of those cards may make Father Mateo slightly stronger than he is. Although, the problem with some of those, with the new builds, with those new cards like Sixth Sense, is they really favor those Mystics who have amazing willpower. They don't do as much, I think, for the Mystics who are sort of middling willpower, like in the 4 range, like I believe Father Mateo is. I don't mind watching a loss. It gives me hope when I lose. Yeah, no, I I have lost many a game. I don't know what my win-loss record is. I have never kept track of it. I'm more interested if a game is dramatic and shows off the mechanics well. I would much prefer that to a walk in the park, because I think for players who are coming to watch these sorts of games, they want to learn something. They want to see how the mechanics work. They want to see, like in this game, they want to see players get out of difficult situations, and that will give them ideas on how to beat those difficult situations when they run into them. You know, when I was looking at this, when I was looking at that Crypt of the Lamp and the Shivering Pool, like I didn't see an answer there. I thought for sure, you know, this is game over. But you know, another player looks at that situation and sees an answer. And I think that's valuable for players who may be just starting out. I know I saw on the Facebook group there were some players who were posting that they were having a lot of trouble with the final scenario in the core set, and I mean, maybe that's something I should play on stream, just so that you know, those players may be able to tune into the stream and get some tips and tricks on how to beat that final core set scenario, because it is tough. I mean, I think that one is, if you get a good start, you can do it. If you go too slow, you can really get bogged down, and then you won't have a chance. I think my win and loss record against that one is actually pretty good, but I try to go as fast as I can in that one. I don't, and that's one of my main beefs with the core set scenarios, is that the gathering, while it's great because it teaches you the game and is very straightforward. It has a nice boss fight at the end, so you get to kill a big enemy. It's very forgiving on time. You don't have to really work, don't have to go too fast. Unfortunately, when you hit the Midnight Masks and the Devourer below, then you need to go fast. Then you need, like, your tempo becomes very important in those two scenarios. And so if you've sort of become accustomed to taking your time in the gathering, you're going to have to change up how you play in order to really make a dent in those scenarios. And so when I play those, I mean, there have been times where I haven't played any car, like I just don't play assets, because I just don't want to take the tempo hit to put that asset into play and take that hit, because you just need to get to the ritual site as quickly as possible. And if you can get there, if you can get through the main path, then you're in pretty good shape, I think. Oh yeah, I don't think I've ever I've never chucked Lita to the in Devour Below. I don't play with Lita all that often. I put her in my deck, but I never see her. That's the thing. Yeah, I meant the priest, the ghoul priest. It gives you a good, the ghoul priest is a nice battle in the gathering. He can be tough. I mean, I have lost to him. There was one game I was playing with that nearly made me rage quit. I was playing Finn, and I had all the tools I needed in order to crush the ghoul priest, and I drew like tentacle -4 tentacle, and basically ran out of resources and ammo, and he retaliated and killed me. And I was just like, man, oh man, that I was so angry after that game. But I mean, that happens. That, like you saw here, I mean, you get to the very end, you've been pulling fine tokens all game, and then you just pull the tentacle on the one that you really need to on that one test that you really need to pass. And fortunately, Wendy does have an out in this case, and so I was able to redraw it. So yeah, going forward, we are going to hopefully be streaming Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, and we'll see how that goes through the summer, and play a bunch of different decks, have some fun chatting as well, and hopefully we can get 2 games in per stream. This one is a little bit longer. I was planning on playing Black Stars Rise as well, but that one can go quite long as well. So if you guys don't have any more questions, I think I'm gonna call it a stream there. Thank you very much to everyone for dropping by and saying hello and chatting with me this morning. I really appreciate the support that everyone has given the channel. I know when I started it, I was expecting I'd have, a couple dozen followers and be putting this stuff out mainly for myself. So the fact that I think the last time I checked YouTube, I had something like 2,750 followers. That just blows my mind. I cannot believe that even now. So again, thank you very much. I really appreciate the support for the channel. And if there is anything you would like to see me play on stream next week, do drop me a line on Facebook. You can also reach me. I will post my email address in the chat for you. And you can also, if you have any questions or comments or decks that you'd like me to look at, you can always send them to me at manfromleng@gmail.com, and I'd be more than happy to take a look at them. I will see you all next time, and hopefully we can pull off another victory come Monday. That was a fantastic game. Thank you, everyone, for the help. Until the stars are right, keep your shotgun close and your elder sign closer. Take care out there, and happy investigating.